Hi there. My name's Laura Santamaria, and I am your curator for A Minute on the Mic. I've crowdsourced a question on Twitter, and our guests today had 60 seconds to record an answer, and then they sent those videos to me. I've compiled their responses, and we'll get a chance to see what they all had to say. Our question this episode is, if you could eliminate one source of toil, what would it be? And here's our guests' answers.
Hi, my name is JJ Asghar, and I'm a developer advocate for the IBM Cloud. This week's question was around toil. For me, incorrectly assigned and useless tickets is toil. This morning, I saw someone spend 3 minutes clearing out their inbox to deal with just wrong tickets, too many tickets, things like that. Now, if they had to do that 4 times a day, which they told me they did, that means that's 12 minutes a day. You multiply that by 5, which is the work week, and that's almost an hour. An hour of productivity every week lost just to deal with tickets. Now multiply that by 4, that's 4 hours. That's half a day every single month just lost out cleaning out tickets. I don't know what if in definition of toil and lost productivity, this feels like this is it. This is toil at its worst. I hope you liked it. Thanks so much.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris Short. I'm trying to be like Jay-Z, do this in one take with no notes. The one thing that bothers me, I think about like the toil, like reducing toil in our work centers and organizations is tool selection, right? We spend an enormous amount of time researching and talking about and potentially arguing about the tools we use and the things that we're doing with them. It's that Vim versus Emacs or Swarm versus Kubernetes or Nomad versus Kubernetes kind of discussion that I've had many, many times in the past. And I think the biggest thing that I can take away from all of this from a DevOps perspective is that need to be continuously learning. Staying up to date with the industry trends and things that are going on are going to take you very far and help your team and your organization eliminate some of that toil around tool selection and the animosity or potential negativity that goes into that tool selection choice process. So stay informed, always stay learning.
Hello, my name is Kat Cosgrove, and I'm a developer advocate at JFrog. If there was one source of toil I could remove for developers today, just gone, it would be unnecessary meetings. I'm talking the kind that could have been an email. The kind where you're either the token engineer in the room, kind of just there so that somebody can show off, or the kind where whoever is running the meeting is just literally reading their slides to you, and they could have just sent you the deck. I hate that. It is a huge waste of time, especially when it blocks off an hour at a really weird time of day, like 11 a.m. to noon. So you've got this hour-long meeting that could have been an email because Home Slice is just reading you the deck, and then you have lunch, and then all of a sudden, a quarter of your workday is just gone. It's just ruined. Because how much are you going to get done between 9 and 11 a.m.? Some, sure, but 11 a.m. rolls around, and you're really in the groove. You're going to solve this problem. You've got this bug that's been an existential nightmare for 3 months, and you can feel it. You're on the way, and boom, suddenly you're in a meeting that could have been an email. Those should be gone.
Hey folks, so the question was, if you could eliminate one source of toil, what would it be? For me, that would actually be all the time we spend merging source code branches. I know that doesn't fit everyone's definition of toil, but we've all seen it. You have conflicts that come around and it takes time to finish them or fix them, etc. And while there are, obviously good tools, merge conflict tools for a text perspective, they certainly don't capture intent. They don't say why this thing was changed and another thing wasn't, or what have you. Now, of course, moving to something like truck-based development, where we're merging to master or pushing master every day, requires other engineering disciplines. So good automated tests, maybe even pair programming at first till you're not used to it. Methods for deploying unfinished work, like feature toggles. So anyhow, that's mine.
I think if I could eliminate one source of toil for everybody, it would be the process that's needed to start post-incident reviews. And I'm talking about the administrative process of that. I'm not saying we should automate them. I'm not saying we should automate timelines or automate filling out artifacts or things like that. But when you are going to do a post-mortem or a post-incident review, There's a lot of manual stuff you have to do. You have to schedule meetings, you have to generate templates of documents, and by generate I mean the initial one, not the content, but just all the pieces you need to send them out to all the appropriate parties, all that stuff. And if there's a way to take that toil and make it simpler, people will do postmortems and post-incident reviews more frequently.
If I could eliminate one source of toil, it would be having to repeatedly tell my child the same thing over and over again. One of the first talks I ever gave was on DevOps parenting, and it's on how we use our strategies from our time as a DevOps practitioner to improve the way we parent. And I'm still searching for ways of doing this, repeatedly telling my son that he has to put his coat on because it is still 35 degrees outside. Please do not lick the dog. Please find your shoes. It's time to go. Any suggestions you have on how I can eliminate this source of toil in my life, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, Paul Czarkowski here, DevRel at VMware, and this is a Minute on the Mic. So the question, if you could eliminate one source of toil, what would it be? I think for me that would be the toil of either cognitive load that is put on you when you have to context switch for unnecessary forced interruptions. Really push notifications from apps like Slack or email, or even monitoring alerts that don't really require any action. This cognitive load is definitely a form of toil, and it's the worst kind of toil because it doesn't actually help you do your job.
You know what? I'm going to change my answer. I would eliminate the toil that you see up here. Up here? No, up there. I don't know how cameras work. But look at my screen. The toil of having to push after push after push to GitHub to try and get your CI to work.
Hello, my name is Quintessence, and I am a technical evangelist at App Dynamics. This week's question is about toil. When I think about toil, I think about a lot of tool redundancy, which can add a lot of extra work. For example, let's say you do something as simple as solve a problem, and then you need to write that up and send it to other humans. So you write up an email, but then you put it in a Google Doc because that's what you got. And then you paste the link into Slack, and then someone's not on the Slack, and actually could you put that in the email? And also, future forward, it would be great if you could put it into Box or Dropbox or whatever, because we also use that tool for these other people. And oh yeah, we need it to persist, so if you could put it in Confluence or equivalent, and you'll need to put in this other project because the engineers are over here and the sales team is over here, and maybe like some other separations are happening with like architects and whatever, and they all need to read it. And now by the time you're done, you have 10 different typed up versions of your one solution, and you can't even version control this because it's not even in the same place. Congratulations.
Hey, my name is Stigter, developer advocate at VMware, and this week's question was about toil. So if I could eliminate one source of toil as a developer, I would definitely root out everything that has to do with manually setting up stuff after I deployed everything into production. Things like checking what's it going to cost to run it in production, checking what the performance is going to be. Those are things that we can easily automate. Now, from a personal point of view, the thing that I would eliminate is meetings, especially the meetings that could have been an email. And we see so many of those very long status meetings that take over an hour with like 20 participants that could have been an email.
Hi, I'm Sasha Rosenbaum, and this is a Minute on the Mic. Today's question was about eliminating sources of toil. If I had a magic wand, the source of toil that I would eliminate would be commute and scheduling. Because I think there's a huge value in getting people into the same room to solve a problem. But there's a lot of work that gets into getting them there in the first place. Because unless you already work in the same office and you show up there every day and you can just easily talk to one another, we have to coordinate schedules and figure out the calendars, and then we have to get on a car, like a train, on an airplane, to get into the same place, right? And if I had a magic wand, we would have technology that would magically teleport us, and we would just be there at the right place at the same time. So that's it for me, and hope you have a nice day.
Thanks for listening to A Minute on the Mic. If you want to post a question or vote on the next round, keep an eye out on Twitter at #AMinuteOnTheMic to find out more about how to respond and how to vote. You can also check out our archives at AMinuteOnTheMic.com. Thanks for listening and have a lovely day.